Well, what's going on everyone out there in the internet land? Tyler here again, and I'm going to bring to you another exhaust welding video. And like I say in all my videos, I am not that good at welding. I guess these videos do well because it gives people the opportunity to really make fun of me. That's okay. The algorithm doesn't care if it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So whatever you guys want to say, I can take it. We're going to use the titanium Flux 125. And you may say, you have a lot of videos already of you welding exhaust. I do, but I don't have one specific video on welding exhaust with this welder right here. It is definitely different than the Lincoln weld pack that I had. It seems like they all had their own little personalities, own little quirks about how they like to weld things better. So that's what we're doing today, is with the Easy-Flux and exhaust. Stay tuned. So what I'm going to try today is doing these little circles. So I'm going to start, first I'm going to tack this piece up, and then I'm going to go kind of circle and come around here and then just go in circles and go down. So what that's going to do is it's going to keep you from getting too hot in one spot, like in the middle here and blowing through. So I'm going to try that today. Now, I normally don't weld inside the garage. I just take all the stuff and put it outside, but it's pretty wet and nasty out there, so we're not gonna do that today. We're gonna try doing it inside. Hopefully this fan right here will be sufficient to bring toxic fumes away from me to that direction. The wire I'm running is 30. Let's see if we can't see it in there real quick. Instead of the 35. No, you can't really see it. But one thing I noticed about this guy right here, this has to be a little tighter than the Lincoln weld pack, because this one right here, if you don't have it pretty tight, it likes to go vroom everywhere, and then all of a sudden your welder go bam, 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 bam. You're wondering what's going on. It's because it's not feeding very smoothly through this guy right here. So today, like I said, we're running 30 wire. Let's see how it works. So I got the wire speed just slightly up from 1, and I have the the voltage almost to B. So let's see if that be correct. All right, got the fan going, and I got my Hillbilly Mountain Water to give me all the liquid courage I need to attempt to successfully weld this guy up. Two tacks. So I figured I would point this out real quick. When you tack this guy up, you want the least amount of gap in there as possible, because if that gap starts to get big, you're gonna have a hard day. And right here we have some anti-spatter. This is the good stuff. This is the stuff that lowers your sperm count and possibly gives you cancer, but it works pretty good for making sure it don't spatter. Okay, so I'm trying to think of the best way for me to follow this down. You want to make it as long as pass as you possibly can with your skill set when you're doing this, because it's just going to look better that way. Like I said, I am not good, and no matter how many times I say that I am not a professional, I'm not very good at welding, there are still some people who still have to point out that you suck at welding. It's okay. It's YouTube, and that's what people do. All right, so we had our first fail. This is going to be interesting. Let me show you guys what happened. When I went to go hit stop on the camera after my first pass right here, the tack popped on this side because that wasn't good enough. So that's probably very important to make your tacks decently strong, so as you're welding they won't pop off. And we got way more of a gap in this guy right now than I would like. So it's going to be interesting. So all you guys like to make fun of me, this is going to be a pretty good opportunity to do so. Hey, get off there, guy. So when you start your next pass, all this spatter right there, some people say you don't have to, but I find that if you take this and just hit it right there, just hit it right where you're going to start it again, because sometimes all that spatter on there, it'll be too much and it won't want to light off. So this makes it way easier to light off. So that's my first tip of the day. All right, so now I'm gonna just continue making that pass, and the gap is getting bigger very quickly where that weld popped off. So it's gonna be interesting. And I know some of you guys out there are probably like, man, I could just go around this thing one big pass, man, that's just how I do it. Now, I bet you can. I'm just not a baller like that. When it comes to welding, you need to learn to crawl before you can walk. You need to learn to crawl way before you need to learn to run. So I'm crawling right now, guys. Just give me some slack. Give me some slack, buddy. Well, I lost that line completely. So that right there is a straight up fail. It's really hard sometimes when you're working with this flux core and that smoke and that spatters going on, and the helmet dims it so much with flux that sometimes it's almost impossible to see that line, and I completely missed that line. So I got a light right here, and hopefully this will be enough light that I don't wander off the beaten path again. So let's try that again, folks. All right, good. We can follow it now. Way better. Let's continue. All right, so let's clean her up and see what we got. I'm doing a lot of holding my breath when I'm welding, but it is pulling the fumes out because it's not smoky in here. It actually is drawing everything out that way. So I think I'm pretty good in that aspect. Let's reveal it. I mean, I'm not too ashamed with that. That's where I went off the beaten path. But the light did help. I can actually find my way through the forest after that. You know, it's a good start. We got a couple more pieces on here that we're going to weld up. Maybe I can improve on this. Let's try that method. I think that method is actually working pretty good. Just going, around in circles, little small circles as you go down. You can see right here, that's where I started to blow through it when it had that gap. But, it's nothing that you would put on a cover of Weld magazine or something like that. But I also feel like I'm not going to go down the street and get stoned by rocks because of it. Uh-oh, look at that. I get a hole right here, but it's kind of good that I have a hole right there because I'll show you guys how I can fill it. So when there's a little opening, like a crack like this, I was trying to go too slow. That was my problem. And when you go too slow, you can do that very quickly on this exhaust pipe. So what I'm going to do to fix this, you start on the thickest part first, and you go around the edges, and you kind of just make it, pretend it's a funnel cake, and you go around until you fill it in at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and show you guys the results. All right, so the hole's filled. Let's continue. I think there's a slight improvement between this one versus the other one. Maybe it's a little better. Welding, it just takes time. You got to keep on doing it. And just remember that this is a inexpensive Flux-Core welder, no gas. That's good enough for me. I mean, that's where I filled that hole in, so that looks like crap, of course. But I think I can get a little bit better. Getting there. Here we have an oil pan. That's going to go onto my 400 cubic inch small block Chevy, and I say that these welds on this guy right here don't look too much better than these welds right here from a sub $200 welder. What do you guys think? So Can a $200 Harbor Freight welder weld exhaust pipe? Yes, it can. Is it going to be super pretty? Well, I guess that all depends on your skill set. I am not very skilled, but if I can do it, you can do it. And with that said, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and that like button. Keep on wrenching, and peace.